Welcome to my channel. It's so good to see you. Today I have a handful of short stories that I'd like to read to you to help you relax and get some rest. 4 of the stories will be coming from the Chinese fairy book, and one of them is by an anonymous author, but a very well-known story, the Ballad of Mulan. So, if you're all settled in and snug like a bug in a rug, then let's get started, shall we? The Chinese fairy book, The Fox and the Tiger. Once a fox met a tiger. The latter bared his teeth, stretched out his claws, and was about to devour him. But the fox spoke and said, "My dear sir, you must not think that you are the only king of beasts. Your courage does not compare with my own. Let us walk together, and do you keep behind me. And if men catch sight of me and do not fear me, then you may devour me." The tiger was willing, and so the fox led him along a broad highway. But the travelers, when they saw the tiger in the distance, were all frightened and ran away. Then the fox said, "How about it? I went in advance, and the men saw me, and had not as yet seen you." And thereupon the tiger drew in his tail and ran away himself. The tiger had remarked quite well that the men were afraid of the fox, but he had not noticed that the fox had borrowed the terror he inspired from him. The Tigers Decoy. That the fox borrowed the terror he inspired from the tiger is more than a simile, but that the tiger has his decoy is something we read about in the storybooks, and grandfathers talk about a good deal too, so there must be some truth to it. It is said that when a tiger devours a human being, the latter's spirit cannot free itself, and that the tiger uses it for a decoy. When he goes out to seek his prey, the spirit of the man he has devoured must go before him to hide him, so that people cannot see him. And the spirit is apt to change itself to a beautiful girl, or a lump of gold, or a bolt of silk. All sorts of deceptions are used to lure folk into the mountain gorges. Then the tiger comes along and devours his victim, and the new spirit must serve as his decoy. The old spirit's time of service is over, and it may go. And so it continues, turn by turn. Probably that is why they say of people who are forced to yield themselves up to cunning and powerful men, in order that others may be harmed, they are the tiger's decoys. The Fox and the Raven. The fox knows how to flatter and how to play many cunning tricks. Once upon a time he saw a raven who alighted on a tree with a piece of meat in his beak. The fox seated himself beneath the tree, looked up at him, and began to praise him. "Your color," he began, "is pure black. This proves to me that you possess all the wisdom of Lao Tzu, who knows how to shroud his learning in darkness. The manner in which you manage to feed your mother shows that your filial affection equals that which the Master Zong had for his parents. Your voice is rough and strong. It proves that you have the courage of which King Hyang once drove his foes to flight by the mere sound of his voice. In truth, you are the king of the birds." The raven, hearing this, was filled with joy and said, "I thank you, I thank you." And before he knew it, the meat fell to the earth from his opened beak. The fox cut it up, devoured it, and then said, laughing, "Make note of this, my dear sir. If someone praises you without occasion, he is sure to have a reason for doing so." Why dog and cat are enemies. Once upon a time there was a man and his wife, and they had a ring of gold. It was a lucky ring, and whoever owned it always had enough to live on. But this they did not know, and hence they sold the ring for a small sum. But no sooner was the ring gone that they began to grow poorer and poorer, and at last did they not know when they would get their next meal. They had a dog and a cat, and these had to go hungry as well. Then the two animals took counsel together as how they may restore to their owners their former fortune. At length the dog hit upon an idea. "They must have the ring back again," he said to the cat. The cat answered, "The ring has been carefully locked up in the chest where no one can get at it." "You must catch a mouse," said the dog, "and the mouse must gnaw a hole in the chest and fetch out the ring, and if she does not want to, say that you will bite her to death, and you will see that she will do it." This advice pleased the cat, and she caught a mouse. Then she wanted to go to the house in which stood the chest, and the dog came after. They came to a broad river, and since the cat could not swim, the dog took her on his back and swam across with her. Then the cat carried the mouse to the house in which the chest stood. The mouse gnawed a hole in the chest and fetched out the ring. The cat put the ring in her mouth and went back to the river where the dog was waiting for her and swam across with her. Then they started out together for a home in order to bring the lucky ring to their master and mistress. But the dog could only run along the ground. When there was a house in the way, he would have to go around it. The cat, however, quickly climbed over the roof, and so she reached home long before the dog and brought the ring to her master. Then her master said to his wife, "What a good creature the cat is. We will always give her enough to eat and care for her as though she were our own child." But when the dog came home, they scolded him because he had not helped to bring home the ring again. And the cat sat by the fireplace, purred, and never said a word. Then the dog grew angry at the cat because she had robbed him of his reward. And when he saw her, he chased her and tried to seize her. And ever since that day, cat and dog are enemies. The Ballad of Mulan. Siek, siek, and again, siek, siek. Mulan weaves, facing the door. You don't hear the shuttle sound. You only hear daughter sighs. They ask daughter who was in her heart. They ask daughter who was on her mind. No one is on daughter's heart. No one is on daughter's mind. Last night I saw the draft posters. The Khan is calling for many troops. The army list is in 12 scrolls. On every scroll there's a father's name. Father has no grown-up son. Mulan has no elder brother. I want to buy a saddle and a horse, and serve in the army in father's place. In the East Market she buys a spirited horse. In the West Market she buys a saddle. In the South Market she buys a bridle. In the North Market she buys a long whip. At dawn she takes leave of father and mother. In the evening camps on the Yellow River's bank. She doesn't hear the sound of father and mother calling. She only hears the Yellow River's flowing water cry, "Sian, Sian." At dawn she takes leave of the Yellow River. In the evening she arrives at Black Mountain. She doesn't hear the sound of father and mother calling. She only hears Mount Yen's nomad horses cry, "Siu, siu." She goes 10,000 miles on the business of war. She crosses passes and mountains like flying. Northern gusts carry the rattle of army pots. Chilly light shines on iron armor. Generals die in 100 battles. Stout soldiers return after 10 years. On her return, she sees the Son of Heaven. The Son of Heaven sits in the splendid hall. He gives out promotions in 12 ranks and prizes of 100,000 and more. The Khan asks what she desires. Mulan has no place for a minister's post. I wish to ride a swift mount to take me back to my home. When father and mother hear daughter is coming, they go outside the wall to meet her, leaning on each other. When elder sister hears younger sister is coming, she fixes her robe facing the door. When little brother hears elder sister is coming, he whets the knife, quick, quick, for pig and sheep. I open the door to my east chamber. I sit on my couch in the west room. I take off my wartime gown and put on my old-time clothes. Facing the window, she fixes her cloud-like hair. Hanging up a mirror, she dabs on yellow flower powder. She goes out the door and sees her comrades. Her comrades are all amazed and perplexed. Traveling together for 12 years, they didn't know Mulan was a girl. The he-hare's feet go hop and skip. The she-hare's eyes are muddled and fuddled. 2 hares running side by side, close to the ground. How can they tell if I am he or she? I do hope that you found those stories enjoyable and that they help you get some rest. Thank you for putting your trust in me, and I look forward to the time that we meet again.